I want to show you how I mix a dub version and some of the effects that I use to do that. I still like to mix by hand the old-fashioned way, so I've got all my instruments laid out on the desk here, and then each one of these auxiliary sends has a different effect on it that I can apply to any instrument I want. I like the random factor that happens when you're mixing dub on the fly, because you never know what can happen, and sometimes you think you've made a mistake halfway through, but it actually turns out to be a nice feature of the dub when you listen back to it. It's a good idea to practice through the tune a lot of times so you get used to the structure of the track itself, and you know where the horns parts are or a vocal you want to bring in at a certain point. And it's also good to practice to get used to the mixing desk and where the effects are, so it's almost like a musical instrument, and that way you can get to the controls really quick without thinking too much about it. Sometimes it takes a lot of takes to get a dub that I'm happy with, but that's just part of the process. So let me show you some of the effects I've got here. The first one is the Moog filter. I'm going to run some keys and guitar skanks through that. So I'll just play that back and show you what it sounds like. So it's got an overdrive here to fatten the sound a bit, and then the filter knob. And then the next effect I'm using is a short delay. So if I play that same sound back, I'll show you what the delay does to it. Then on the third send we've got the spring reverb. So if I play some drums and show you what the spring sounds like. Now the spring reverb controls let you have a high pass or a low pass filter on the spring, so it can change the sound like this. So that's the spring, and then on the fourth send I'm using my Ibanez delay unit, and I'm using that mostly on the vocal to dub out the end of a chorus. So it sounds something like this.
Nothing left to say, and all I've left to do.
So I like to bring all my effects back through the mixing desk, and that means I've got control over the EQ for each effect, and it also means I can make a feedback loop for the delay. So what happens is that it takes the signal from the delay and then you send it back in, and it creates a kind of loop which makes a kind of submarine delay sound. I'll show you what that's like. So without the feedback loop, it sounds like this.
Let's run away from you. He let me on.
And then if we put the feedback loop,
with secret sign. Close your eyes.
and the EQ on the delay changes the sound of the feedback loop as well, so like this. Sometimes it overdrives and you've got to be careful because it can suddenly get really loud, so you've got to have a gentle touch with it. The last effect I'm using is my Vermona filter, and that's just on the bass, and it just gives it a bit of drive and a bit more of a grinding sound, so it comes through. And it's often a challenge making dubs so that they sound really heavy on a sound system, but also the bass comes through on, if you're listening to it on smaller speakers, and so that's what helps with that. So that's all the effects I'm using, and I'll set up the desk and try a dub. So that was take number 25 of that dub. I had a few false starts in the first 30 seconds, and it's really important that a dub is strong in that first section, so I tried again until I got it right. But I think it went okay, and if you want to hear it again, I'm going to put it on Bandcamp in the next couple of weeks. Thanks a lot for listening.